Okay. All right. Disappointed in the loss. Got to take care of the football. It's uncharacteristic of us. Two things we take a lot of pride in. That's fewest amount of penalties and taking care of the football. But you always got to self-evaluate and what I could have done better throughout the week to prepare this team, and then throughout the game, halftime, and so forth. But this team will respond. I've had a great week of practice, and looking forward to getting back on the field.
When this game was announced, you knew about your dad. You never make anything about yourself, but the chance to go back to a place that you grew up in. How special is that for you?
Well, it's special, But again, it's about two programs playing. It's not about myself or my father, but obviously gonna have a lot of family back, so that'll be special. See my mom, see my sister, see a lot of familiar faces, so that's always unique. But focus is on the game, and looking forward to that.
They said they're gonna have people back from your dad's tenure there to see your dad be honored, and you talk about what a special time it was. What does that mean to you?
Well, when you get into this profession, you want to get off to a great start, and I got off to a great start. I was very blessed. In 1993, that was my first year coaching, and I was a graduate assistant. Got off to a great start. That's the team they're honoring, so that's very special. Being around, knowing the coaches that I was around at that time, and the players, it means a lot. So, you always want to get off to a great start, and I got off to a great start.
Do you have any special memories from Memorial Stadium and your dad's, just specifically that stand out to you?
Well, obviously my dad's last game. I think that's the one that stands out the most, and it was how he finished it. I think when you look back, I think the things you learn the most is, my father was fired at Indiana, but he never, ever stopped loving Indiana. And it taught me more about anything in this profession, because it wasn't about him. It was about the program. It was about the players. He always backed them. He never lost his love for Indiana. It was always about the players. He was always supportive of whoever the coach was. I was fortunate to come back and go back there and coach. And unfortunately was on a staff that was let go. My brother Doug went back and coached there. But we would have never gone back there if it weren't for my dad and his love and continued love for a program. And that's probably as big a lesson that you can learn, is that it's not about you, it's about the program, it's about the young men.
Coach Allen addressed it on Monday that he has a special relationship with you. Obviously, you two want to beat each other, but talk about your more than just coaches, your friendship with each other.
Well, Tom, I got a tremendous amount of respect for. Obviously, my son plays for Indiana State. Wouldn't want it any other way. But I think if there's one compliment you can give another coach, if he wasn't playing for me, I'd want him to play for Tom Allen. That's the respect I have for him.
We were joking on camera about it, but the Friday Night Light thing.
Sure.
Coach Allen was pretty adamant about it. Your son played high school football. I know you don't have control, but you wish you weren't playing this game on Friday night?
Yeah, I've got guys on this football team that coaches are having to coach. Dakota Caton's father is coaching at Sullivan. Carter Heron, his father's coaching at Terre Haute South. I want them to be there, and I expressed that when it was announced. Tom spoke. I don't need to speak anymore. Tom and I are on the same page. Friday nights for high school football. And first two calls I made when I heard was to Dakota Caton. I called Mike Caton and I called Tim Herron, and apologized. It wasn't Tom or I's decision to do that. Wish they could be there to watch their sons play.
Coach, you guys haven't been to Bloomington about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get an opportunity now to play IU and Big Ten foe. I know they had their opener against Ohio State. What have you seen from them so far? What do you know about them, and what kind of challenge is this going to be for you guys?
Well, it'll be a heck of a challenge. Obviously they're a much improved team. Watched them from a year ago, and obviously watched the game this past week. I think they've improved. I think they're really good up front. It's no surprising to see the improvement that they've made on the offensive line from last year to this year. I'm very close with Rod Carey. I know he was a part of that last year. Bob Bostad's the O-line coach now, and there's no question why they're better. They're very well coached. And defensive line, I think they're very active. But I think it always starts up front, and I think that's where they made the most improvement.
And then I know Cade is kind of day-to-day. Cade Chambers, what can you tell me about what's bothering him? And then is this something that dates back to a couple weeks ago when he, I know he missed some days at camp as well.
Sure, we're not going to disclose the injury, but he is week to week. Won't play this week, and in hopes that he'll be back next week. And if he's not back next week, we'll see where he's at in the off week for the bowl or for the Murray State game.
Yeah. Did you say it happened did it happen like this summer, or like is it something that bothered him in recent weeks, last couple days, last couple weeks?
It's something that he needs to get some rest from. We sat down with the doctors, and he's going to be back. He's going to be back, but just needs to rest right now, and that's the best thing for Cade right now.
You took that loss, but there were some positives. Your defense played pretty well. Several big plays, turnovers. How much did you like the way your defense played in the opener?
I think the question was asked, about the effort. It wasn't the effort. That's not something that I'm ever concerned about with this football team. We need to execute better. We had opportunities at times. There's times where you got to win the game on offense, and there's times you got to win it on defense. And we needed to get back in the game in the second half by giving the ball back to the offense. And give Eastern Illinois credit. They were able to keep the ball, possess it, not turn the ball over. And in this game now, possessions are like gold. You got to take advantage of those. And we weren't able to do that. We had some drive stoppers with the turnovers. But I can promise you this team got back to work. That's the only way we know how to do it here. And we got back to work this week to get those things improved.
Yes.
How has this team responded? You hear a lot. You hear the biggest improvements are made sometimes between week 1 and week 2. What have you seen from your team? How they have improved this week to get set for the challenge on Friday?
Well, how they came back to work. This team works every time they go out on the field. You could tell in their eyes that this one stung. We did a lot of things to ourselves. Give Eastern Illinois a lot of credit. They created some turnovers on their own. But we took a hard look and things that we got to get better, and it starts with me, and that's the approach we took. And we came out and had as good a practice, as physical practice as we could have on Monday and Tuesday, and that's exactly what I expected from this team, was to get back to work and get ready to play this next one.
Then Maddox Blackwell had a late pick.
Yep.
Had a couple handfuls of tackles. Anything you saw specifically after getting to watch the film, kind of what he was doing, and maybe what some of the guys can maybe pick up on from him and just kind of his performance?
Yep. I can talk about Maddox. I can talk about a lot of guys on this team. It's how they practice. They come out and they practice to make plays. And you've seen Maddox do that all camp. You see Dakota doing that all camp. You see Lucas Hunter doing that all camp. That's how they practice. But Maddox plays with a lot of energy. Enjoy watching him play. Can do a lot of things. Does a lot for us on special teams. Has played a lot of different positions for us, and he's settled in at the safety spot.
Next 2 weeks are FBS games. Your Sycamore's 2 big paydays games in the season. You've done this a long time. What are your thoughts on these big payday games?
Well, obviously, I think they're good. For 2 reasons. Obviously, the financial part of it's great, but I think it really gives us an opportunity to go play against a Power 5 school or an FBS school. We've got a lot of guys from the state of Indiana. We got 63 of them to be exact, and this will be a big game. But you don't have to be from Indiana to want to play in big games like this. Northwestern, Tennessee, Louisville, Kansas, what have you. But it gives you an opportunity to get out there and compete, and I know this team will be ready to do that.
And Rylan Cole, I asked you about this after the game. So I saw he's been out, or I heard he's been out all camp, right? This summer he missed a lot of time, or missed all the time. What can you tell me
Sure.
where he sustained it and what's going on with him?
Okay, Rylan had hip surgery. We knew it was going to be a progression back, and that's exact. He's right on time. He's progressing back. Don't know if we'll have him for the Ball State game, but pretty certain we're going to have him by the time we start conference.
Okay. And then you mentioned a snap count for Justin Dinka at the last game. Where's he at, and is it a hip? What's bothering him? Like, where's he kind of ailing a little bit?
Justin had a shoulder injury that he came off of. He played with it all season, and he's a tough son of a gun. And we had it operated after the season, so we limited him in the spring. We've progressed him back, and he's ready to go full.